as you've heard, and I'm sure you know, everybody on this dais has met a family that's lost a loved one to opioids. Probably the same is true for all of you as well. In Maryland, for the most recent 12 months of reporting that's available, we had 2,487 fatal overdoses, and fentanyl was involved in over 80% of those. So those are the numbers in Maryland. Behind those numbers, obviously, is a family that's lost a loved one, and that is magnified throughout the country. So I would like to follow up on some of the questions my colleagues have asked. We've had a lot of questions today. And Director Gupta, I think it's important that you get back to the committee on this issue of where most of the fentanyl is crossing the border of the United States and how. Because the figures we've seen from Customs and Border Patrol indicate that 90%, as Senator Merkley indicated, is coming over legal crossing points and interior vehicle checkpoints. You can't confirm that today? Is that your testimony?
No, what I can confirm, Senator Van Hollen, is that we know that overwhelming majority, and 90%, not individual carriers, but overall through the ports of entry is what it is coming.
Right, in terms of the volume of fentanyl, over 90% is coming through ports of entry.
Correct.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's important because we have an important discussion on immigration and immigration reform, but fentanyl comes in very potent small quantities potentially, right? I mean, a very little bit can kill you. So what it indicates to me is we need to do even more at our ports of entry to try to detect and intercept fentanyl, and we have been working to provide additional resources to do exactly that. Now, to my knowledge, we don't have a similar problem with fentanyl crossing our northern border. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right. Which gets to the question of why. We've heard about China's involvement with the precursors, and we absolutely need to insist that they engage in that conversation with us. But it also indicates that the drug cartels in Mexico are out of control, and it would suggest, as you said, Administrator Milgram, that not enough is being done by the government of Mexico to crack down on these cartels, and that in the past, when there's been a will to do it, we've seen results. I understand that was something you stated earlier. Is that right?
Yes, Senator. We believe that Mexico was very effective at taking down the Zetas cartel in between 2012 and 2015, and that they absolutely have the capability and would welcome working with them to take down these two cartels.
So when you raise this with them and you point to their earlier success and determination to take down cartels and point out that that's not happening now, what is their response?
When we work with, and I would defer a little bit on this to
Secretary Robinson, maybe you want to, yeah.
Senator, what I would say is I think the Mexican government is very aware of the mal-influence of the cartels in Mexico. They have resource issues, but the Lopez Obrador government has made some decisions on law enforcement that have engaged the military at ports of entry. There are other parts of the Mexican government that can definitely do more, and we will, working with our ambassador and our team in Mexico City, push them to do more.
All right. Well, I think, again, if you look at their past success compared to what's happening now, it does indicate to me anyway that if they're determined to do it, they can do a better job than they are now. The last question relates to something Senator Shaheen brought up regarding this new ingredient that's mixed into fentanyl and opioids, xylazine, also known as Trank. I think that's the street name. This has become a big issue in parts of Maryland and throughout the country. I heard what you said, Madam Administrator, about asking the Department of Health and Human Services to list them. So there are legal uses to this, obviously, but where is it being diverted to the best of our knowledge? Like who is diverting it to these bad purposes?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I should have clarified this before with Senator Sheehan. There are no lawful uses for humans. There are lawful uses for veterinarians,
Yes.
and it's called Tranq because it is a horse tranquilizer,
Right.
and it's being sold throughout the country as for veterinarians. What we're doing right now at DEA is we're looking internally at every authority that we potentially have to address this issue.
Right, but just in terms of the tranq, have you been able to identify where it's being diverted? As you say, there are legal veterinarian purposes for this, but obviously it's being diverted to other uses. Do you have any leads as to who's doing that?
Senator, I can't discuss investigations, and I apologize for that, but I can tell you that we are actively working on this issue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Follow up.